Alright. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for the GSL Finals, the Global StarCraft League, and a surprise set of finalists. GUMIHO in the bottom right, and Solar in the top left. Let's get those game sounds switched on as the Reaper comes in. Interestingly, GUMIHO opening up with a 2-Rex Reaper opening. This, in my mind, is one of the least GUMIHO-style openings in the world. It is bizarre to see him opening up like this. Solar going for a standard third hatchery in response. But to see GUMIHO opening up with what is like the most normal play amongst Korean pro game is very odd. He's gone for a command center into a second gas behind it, so not super rushing a third command center. Looks like he wants to go for a factory. Now, he's also building a fourth Reaper before going for add-ons. Usually when you go above 3 Reapers, you want to cancel the third base. However, this natural is so close, and he let a creep tumor get down very early, which is allowing these queens to get over here earlier than you'd normally expect. Perhaps a small mistake there for GUMIHO. I think he can get it, though. I think he can kill the hatchery, but... Oh, he's going to back out. Oh, the Lings actually get us around. No way! The Reaper actually stopped to shoot the creep tumor. Oh, bad micro for GUMIHO. That's a disastrous start. Only 12 Zerglings got forced. He killed not a single unit. He didn't kill the hatchery. All he did was delay a creep tumor and a bit of an inject timing. That is an awful start for those Reapers. They did not pay off at all. And it is a third command center into a factory behind it, as well as Stim and Marines. GUMIHO finding himself behind at the start of the series is nasty. Yes, he's beaten Solar quite a few times this year, as opposed to the previous year where Solar just destroyed him every single time they played. I don't think he beat Solar a single time in 2022. This year, it's been a much more even back and forth, where there have been periods where GUMIHO's actually had a big head-to-head advantage. But of course, the overall scoreline still very much in Solar's favor. And I guarantee you Solar's prepared for this grand finals. Even though, you know, obviously he had to play against Dark before and he wasn't sure who would win out of GUMIHO and Classic. It's something where you're going to come in well prepared. And as Solar, do you even need to prepare? How do you play? Well, basically you stand in front of your opponent, you let them punch you in the face repeatedly, and then you finally throw a punch once they're exhausted and you win the game. That's Solar's Zerg versus Terran. It is the Rocky Balboa style of StarCraft. I just defend and survive and absorb and absorb and absorb and absorb, and eventually I'll go across the map and kick your ass, but not until you've kind of thrown the kitchen sink at me. And remember that Solar does that against Maru on a daily basis, where, don't get me wrong, Maru tends to beat Solar, but it's always very close back and forth games, and Solar very rarely loses a series to Maru without taking at least a few maps. Third command center pumping out. People are saying that's not really Rocky Balboa. He's a little more technical than that. That's a Homer Simpson boxing strat. Maybe that is it. To be fair, it's very skillful what Solar does, though. So I'm going to stick with the Rocky analogy. I think that's a little bit more becoming. 1-1 upgrades going up very early for Solar. Yeah, Solar feels really good after this start. Notice he's delayed his lair. So he's going to go 1-1 upgrades. He'll then start a lair when he hits 100 gas right now. And his next 50 gas are going to go into a Baneley nest. He's already building a few spore crawlers around his base just to provide a little bit of anti-air coverage. And that Baneley nest should go down any moment now. There we go. Beautifully timed for Solar. He's focusing on all the right things right now. And even as a Marine drop moves out with some Reapers, how many Marines is that? 18 Marines with Stim. Shields and +1, both 30 seconds out. He could deny this fourth from being taken, but Solar has chosen to take the base to the north. 3 more barracks are on the way. A Liberator being built by GUMIHO, wanting to do a bit of harassment. Marines and Reapers poking on in. Good micro on both sides. Transfuses, replenishing the creep tumors. Just a single creep tumor goes back down. Don't need too many more than that. Save the energy for the transfuse. And Solar knows if he defends this fourth base, gets a macro hatch and a fifth hatch up, he can mass Lingbane and swarm over. GUMIHO's behind from the opening. And that's a scary thing on a big map like Golden Aura. I don't know who picked this map. I'll have to wait for the next map to really see. I'm still not sure exactly which players favor which maps. Oh, not the best fight for GUMIHO. There's a pretty good surround there. And I definitely think he lost a few more Marines than you'd like. Units lost are really bad for GUMIHO this early. And now, I mean, if he lost a few units, sure. But the fact that the medevacs are losing 6 Marines that could be inside there, that's why that's such a bad trade. Because now Solar's like, oh, I can just drone my fourth. I expect his next lava injects popping out is just going to be full drones. He's got a 5th base on the way, a macro hatchery. And he's immediately responding to the Liberator. Doesn't lose a single drone. Absolutely stellar play. Now, his queen should move over and push that Liberator out of there. But good enough for now. Bio tries to run back in again. Cute micro there for GUMIHO, but it's just not enough units to really cause a big high impact of damage. Solar Spore methodically moving over. Lings are there. Medevac goes down. GUMIHO is not looking great in this game so far. Second Engineering Bay and an Armory go down. I like that he did get so much going off one eBay. Liberator finally gets some damage. I mean, he's done a really good job of handling this Lib. And there's still no Spore Crawler in the back of the main, but it was off to the right. So he's going to pull that over. Let's see how quickly he responds. Solar on point, man. Unfortunately, the Spore Crawler's not in position, but GUMIHO already repositioning the Liberator so that he can look away. He's actually doing a Marine tank push. That's ballsy. He is outnumbered quite a bit right now. He will have 1-1 upgrades. He's starting a 4th command center. He's trying to build more Marines. The drop on the right side gets deflected there. The Liberator comes in on the left. Looks like it kills 4 more drones, 7 workers in total. And it's barely alive. 18 hit points. Marines on the left come in, kill an Overlord. GUMIHO's got some nice momentum, but Solar is not going to respect that. Baneling speed's done. 1-1 is done. The tank's getting taken out. And even though he saves his Marines... Oh, what's he doing? The Medevac's a little slow to pick them up, but he does save the Marines. It's not as bad as it could be for GUMIHO, but this all gives more room to breathe to Solar. And Solar's doesn't need more room to breathe. Solar's already got his half of the map consumed. 88 workers. He is miles ahead on the income right now against a 65 worker 3-base Terran. Yeah, GUMIHO's going to have a 4th soon, but really to maintain pace, he should already have extra factories up. He's only just started his 2nd and 3rd. His 2-2 is so far behind. He's just begun these upgrades as well as vehicle weapons. And GUMIHO is simply far, far behind the curve in this game. Solar is definitely having a smooth start to the series. And I would be impressed if GUMIHO could make this competitive from here. Because I've seen Solar get to this position versus Maru and it doesn't even look close. Like, if you got that work account this early, Hive's on the way, there is going to be so many Banelings rolling into you. Every Marine and tank needs to kill a dozen Zerg for this to work out for GUMIHO from here. He's down a good bit. That being said, GUMIHO has shown exceptional bioplay. He's not just the one-trick mech boy he may have been at one point in his career a long, long time ago. He does have very good tactics and multi-prong, but I think he's going to also need to show some Maru-esque levels of turtling and defense in order to buy time. Because you could win a good battle or two on the front. Solar's going to have so much more money than you. He'll be able to rebuild. This is the sort of game where you have to slowly eke out advantages, build them upon each other, and then use that to your advantage. And he's doing a good job at pressuring. I like that he's got Marines in 3 places in the map, Marines and Medevacs. He's been pretty good at picking them up, saving them all alive. He's holding both watchtowers right now. 3 more barracks, ghost academies, more command centers. And great pickup micro as well. Really good play so far by GUMIHO. Part of me would often say Zerg players far ahead, he's maxed, why isn't he going to win the game? Another part of me says, do you really need to? This 4th base is really hard to attack into. I think this 3rd is the easier attack angle because there's tanks everywhere. He's never going to get a chance to break these rocks. Maybe Solar just has to wait for GUMIHO to take a 5th base. Because a 5th base is very exposed either out there or down here in this big open area. Looks like GUMIHO is going to try and float to the left. It's already floating a command center down. I love this barracks wall. This is great. This is a really nice play. I don't like this tank here. I guess he's trying to stop the creep from being too far forward. A single tank's not the end of the world, but I'd like most of his tanks to be a bit further back behind the rocks in this wall off. And right now, those tanks are spread a little thin. Does defend these units on the left. There is a single burrowed Zergling on that base. Lurker upgrades are on the way. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of Lurker upgrades or Lurkers against a guy who's turtling and building 3 siege tanks at a time. Could work out though. 3-3 is on the way. Only +3 carapace for Zerg as he adds range upgrades. Ooh, Marines do get run over. Uh-oh. Whoa, Solar's going to commit up the ramp, realizing he forced all the Marines to pick up. Solar just keeps on going. A crazy move. GUMIHO underestimating Solar's bravery there. He thought Solar would say, oh, no, I can't attack up that angle. That's a narrow choke point. But Solar realized, wait, you've got a ton of Marines in the top right. You've got a ton of tanks spread over here. You only have a few tanks here. All the Marines on this side are inside the Medevacs. Huge mistake for GUMIHO. GUMIHO needs to be really careful about keeping his tanks layered up here on the high ground and not letting his Marines get caught off guard. You want to be stutter stepping those Marines back earlier so they don't have to emergency pick up. Because once they're in the Medevacs, they're no longer part of that battle until they find a moment to unload. He's going to try and retake that base, but it is being blocked. It is being blocked right now by that command center. Oh, Abduct's coming to kill 2 full medevacs. Oh, man, I thought that drop was a good idea. But not with Vipers already on the field. The map is covered on creep. GUMIHO is in the doo-doo right now. Sorry, guys. Just got a phone call from my friend. Just quickly shutting me phone up a little bit there. Viper does parasitic bomb the medevac. Marine's going to come and get a few drones. GUMIHO's way behind though. Another big attack comes in. Command center. Oh no, his command center gets caught out. The banelings hit a few of the Marines, but the tanks are layered very nicely on the high ground. A few of the tanks not sieged up though, and this Marine bio a bit far behind, so he actually loses 2 more siege tanks than he should have. GUMIHO needs to be picture perfect on this defense. Every time he takes these fights, this is not good enough trading. Counter-attacking. Oh, it's a really risky decision. There's a lot of banelings here. I mean, it can be good to try to stop them morphing on the front lines, but he's got to keep his tanks on the high ground. You cannot be caught on this low ground. Oh, Solar's just going to opportunistically strike in. Solar has so much momentum, and GUMIHO keeps focusing on taking the 5th. Right now, he needs to focus on just defending his 4th. Another tank goes down. He's lost 7 tanks this game. That command center taking damage. He cannot afford to lose that. GUMIHO has one way to survive. Mass tanks, mass Marines, keep the tanks all on the high ground, a bit of bio spread to the low ground, only ever put an orbital here and just run the SCVs every time you get attacked. And he needs to basically cross his fingers that Solar doesn't make Broodlords. If Solar makes Broodlords, GUMIHO is dead. He hasn't gone for it, but he's going Nidus Worm. Nidus Lurk is pretty annoying. It might not be Broodlords for breaking the tanks, but it's still very, very nasty here. Solar's going to drop a Nidus. Luckily for GUMIHO, he has a tank in the high ground. Multiple tanks in the main is kind of just surprising. Oh, Blighted Clouds come in. The orbital on the left burns down. The Hydra's shooting it down. The Banelings run up the ramp. This tank on the right is doing very well. That there is a bit of a Chad Hammer in the making. 14 kills on that siege tank. This tank down here, 14 kills as well. But these tanks need to stay layered on the high ground. Right now, GUMIHO is so obsessed with taking the 5th, but he needs to be focusing on efficiency more than anything. You can mine a lot of resources on 4 bases. The problem GUMIHO is running into is he's trading badly. Even if he takes a 5th base, trading this badly, he'll still lose the game. Tank's going to siege. That one is in range of the lurkers, but the ghosts and the tanks will clean that up pretty easily. Tanks are out in the open with no support. The Lings are going to get on top and kill another 3 siege tanks. And this is a disaster for GUMIHO. He's getting run over by Solar right now. The Nidus, all he needed to do was force GUMIHO to pull back his mobile units that could deal with Zerglings, and it allows the Lings to run in and fight the tanks on their own. And whenever you're engaging tanks on their own, it's very bad for the Terran. Now, I'm sure people look at those units lost and say, you said this is not good efficiency, but he's ahead, pig. Well, Zerg versus Terran, you want to be in this scenario where you're turtle on 4 bases versus 7 base Zerg, you want to be about twice as efficient as them. He's nowhere near twice as efficient as the Zerg. And even though he's got good upgrades, he's now going away. This expansion was always the correct expansion. Trying to give up on this base is a bad call. He's moving to the top right, which is a really bad call. This is the better expansion to take, but he's got to set up his defense better. It's not a positional issue, it's an execution issue. GUMIHO's going to try to move to the top right, leaving this base wide open, and Solar will immediately capitalize. Rolling in with Hydraling Bane, and we are simply seeing a numbers game where Solar was ahead earlier on and is now able to capitalize. These barracks are now exposed to the Hydras. In the top left, the army will be able to gather there. GUMIHO trying to push forward on creep a little bit with tanks. Kind of cool push, actually. Solar derping a little bit with his Hydras. But look at this. Massling coming in from the right, the top. Massling, Baneling Hydra, a giant arc deep on creep. And that'll be everything. There is actually a good spread of tanks behind this, but they weren't fighting with that army. And the problem for GUMIHO is his forces are not concentrated enough. Chad Hammer there, the true Chad Hammer with 36 kills goes down. GUMIHO's first 2 Reapers dying, finding no damage. Solar running away with that game and crushing GUMIHO with overwhelming numbers. Alright guys, going into the bottom left, we've got GUMIHO who is doing the same 2-Rax Reaper opening. Let's hope he does not lose those Reapers this time around, as that did not go well for him last time. I don't really like this opening for him. GUMIHO was one of the first players to popularize low ground wall-offs. Not even popularized. No one else ever did it because they couldn't pull it off. But he would go low ground single barracks wall-off into quick factory. The 2-Rax Reaper build, very micro-intensive. When I see GUMIHO go 2-Rax Reaper and I like it, it's like his game versus Serral. in the finals of Sweden earlier this year, right? Where in Sweden at the ESL Masters, he went proxy 2x Reaper, did a ton of damage, then went Hellion aggression with it, and he had like 6 Hellions and 6 Reapers just killing all of Cyril's stuff. And then he went 2-port Battlecruiser and just like teleported BCs in and finished him off. It was a beautiful strategy, but I like that more than this kind of very standard play that he's doing here. We'll see how he pulls it off though, of course. He's in the finals for a reason, and I do think he feels quite confident with standard play against Solar, as he has had some success with him over the last few months. Oh, I always forget there's an escape route over there. New Reaper comes in. Very important to not let the creep get down. Oh! He gets a drone. Almost gets a second one. Good extra spore trick there, but I like that. The Reaper on the left runs out. Reaper on the right runs in. Pull back, Gumi. GUMIHO is going to be going for 5 Reapers this time, and there is a third base up. Oh, yeah, he's going to deny that for sure. Oh, actually, look, it's a distraction. It's a distraction. He's going to try and go for drones. He's actually not focusing on killing the base. Now, for those who don't know, 6 Reapers is the magic number to one-shot a drone. Takes 3 Reapers to 2-shot them. That's why a lot of players stop at 3. He's going to 5, so he's not going to the full 6. I think 5 can one-shot a Zergling, though. 5 times 8. If they all shoot at the exact same moment, they might be able to one-shot a drone, but timing that is very difficult because the Zerg regen kicks in almost instantly. Oh, Reaper's going to jump on the high ground. He's going for a YOLO. Already loses 1 Reaper, though. I don't know if this is going to be worth it. Definitely like that he's mixing in a bit higher aggression. Oh, clutch! Clutch! Solar with a clutch Evo chamber. Yes, he loses a drone. He lost 2 before as well, but that's not that big of a deal, especially when you can block him on the way out. Oh, bit of a mistake there for Solar, guys. He could have moved his Queen there and there to block the Reapers so they can't get out from behind that mineral line. But nonetheless, you kill 3 Reapers. You only lose 3 drones. Your third base is up. You delayed Ling Speed this whole time, playing super greedy as Solar. Great play by him, and I think he finds himself ahead once again. That being said, there is a third command center and a starport on the way. Marines do clean up the Overlord on the pillar. A couple of good moves here for GUMIHO. He's not massively behind. I do think it's probably a better opening than the last game, but I definitely feel like Solar is still in a decent spot. Reaper goes in, and Reaper gets trapped. Oh, look at that micro by Solar, making sure he can't leave. And the pressure is basically shut down. Single medevac on the way here out of that starport while the factory waits for its reactor to finish. Looks like an engineering bay. Oh, armory! Wait, what is this? Armory? What are we looking at right now? Armory Widow Mine drop. Okay. GUMIHO bringing out a fancy strategy here. And do we make Hellions behind this and use Hellbats as well? This is going to delay his production a lot. The fact that he is right now producing out of a reacted factory massively slows down the 3 barracks going down. Double engineering bay does go down just now. What a weird playstyle this is. It is going to be Hellions behind that, but a bit of a supply block here for Gumi. There we go, depot finishes, not too far behind. One sec, guys. Oh, I think Dot's got it. She's out of the shower, never mind. Heard my doorbell going there, but the wife's out of the shower. She can answer it and buzz people in. Haha! Double Evo chambers coming up right now. Third base gas is on the way. Fourth base is coming up as well. 1-1 upgrades will be ahead for GUMIHO this game. He's going to pressure the right. He doesn't have medevacs though, so this is very dangerous. Got to be careful here, Gumi bro. He's going to go for the Widowmine drop though. Oh, those drones are a little stacked. And doesn't really matter, only gets 1 drone. Oh, GUMIHO manages to kill a queen. Oh, run! He doesn't have combat shields either, but he gets back. Pull back, GUMIHO, pull back. The Widowmine in the main. Looks like it did fire. I don't think it killed anything. Oh, he redrops it, but it dies before it can burrow. And most of his Marines go down. Units lost tab. This is terrible for GUMIHO, guys. He's so far behind in this game. This is really frustrating as well. For those who don't know, obviously I don't have the cameras of the players, but I did watch a lot of this live as well. Though I was very excited at the time and also distracted by some things, so I might have forgotten some stuff. Hopefully there's still some surprise and suspense. I remember GUMIHO looked a little angry / shaking of the head after game 1. And I think it's the helpless feeling. Where it just feels like the Zerg has endless units, and that's because he was too far behind. And we're entering a similar situation in game 2, where he's simply behind after the early minutes of the game, And he's trying to do some very technical, small-scale, multi-pronged pressure, which is good, but I want to see a lot more of it. Okay, move left with the Marines. Cut off the retreat, cut off the retreat. I think he could have got a bit more there. Only 3 drones. I think he could have got 5 or 6. But damage is damage. Still no combat shields. That's why these Marines are dying so quickly. Doesn't save the Marines. I guess he's busy clearing creep on the front. 4th command center starts behind this. GUMIHO is going to try and play late game. Now, remember what I said last game about the tanks need to be conservative on the high ground, all supporting each other, Marines guarding the tanks, tanks guarding the Marines. If we're going to late game, which it appears GUMIHO is, with a 4th command center, extra gases, more barracks coming in now, so going straight to 8 barracks after that 4th command center, he's going to need to really be careful about his defense and think about where he expands. I would imagine you go 4th base here, 5th base on the gold, and you just layer your defenses around this area, and like tanks here, maybe a tank behind this wall, a tank over there. Try to build a depot wall on this side as well, so you've got extra double-layered wall. But he's not going to win with an aggressive timing unless Solar massively drops the ball, because Solar's simply got the momentum. He's on 85 workers, pumping Hydras, Zerglings, and Banelings. And with only 1 siege tank out, 20 Marines, it's actually a better army for Solar and a much better economy. GUMIHO's built a lot of workers, though. Notice he's going up to 80 workers himself. Oh, watch out, GUMIHO, get out! Does lose a few Marines there. Luckily saves some of the units in time. Solar does not have an infestation pit yet. His 1-1 just finished. Let's see how quick he is to realize and start 2-2. Wow. Instant 2-2. That's crisp. That's very crisp. In the midst of spreading creep, breaking rocks, macroing, getting his vision out there, Solar does that. And he's not really trying any Ling backstabs or anything, but why would you? GUMIHO's only now taking his 4th. GUMIHO's going to go to the left. Okay, that's bizarre. I always feel like the right is easier to defend because these 2 bases are next to each other and they're next to your 3rd, so you can kind of defend them all from one central location, right? Especially once you break those rocks open, these minerals. Tanks all around this area are massively good at supporting each other. But GUMIHO's going to go to the left side, and that fascinates me. What does he have planned here? Solar expected a base there as well. He's like, wait, why is there no base here? Marines moving down the right side. Creep tumor's going to be going down. That's a lot of tumors, man. Welcome to Tumor Island. Apparently this is Big Les and the crew. Given some Gauss rifles. Some medevacs do pick him up, get him out of there. We've got Hive on the way as well as a Lurker Den. Solar's going to play Hive. I think this is really good for GUMIHO. I really feel that Lurkers are not very good versus mass tank. On the other hand, oh, he's not calling 3 factories this time. Okay, he has 2 tech labs, 1 reactor. So he's going to play a mixture of Widow Mines for the Ling Bane and double tank production for the Hydras, the Banes, the Lurkers. I think if he gets enough tanks up, Lurkers suck. If he doesn't have many tanks, Lurkers good. That's essentially the dichotomy. Ghosts are okay versus Lurkers, but they take a lot more micro, whereas tanks, you just siege them and they do their job. So even if the Zerg distracts you, tanks will do okay. The problem is, in that last game, the Nidus Worms really ruined GUMIHO. He needs to wall off the edges, and he really needs to embrace his inner Maru. Unfortunately for him, we already see a Spire on the way, and that tells me that Solar's looking at the state of this game, and he's saying, hey, this is a really slow game. If we're just turtling, I probably need something that's a real stalemate breaker, and if he goes Broodlords, that'll do just that. Move in on the left, he pulls back from the planetary. The drop on the right clears up quite a few Zerglings. GUMIHO's doing a very good job of macroing up in this scenario. He's going to try and drop to that left side. He's got to watch out. Queens and Hydras coming in from every side. That's a dead drop. Nowhere left to go, and Hydras will take that out as well. Full drops going down. GUMIHO instantly remaxes. He's got a lot of money. But keep in mind, he does not have the mass orbital command center or anything like that you do need if you're really playing a very slow, long late game. He's going to start those command centers now. I think because he's committed up here, he should definitely take this base. If he now expands to the bottom right, that's a disaster. Ugh. I don't like seeing Terrans do this. I'm really cheering for GUMIHO to get back in this because I do think Solar's got great momentum right now. You can see his bank starting to build. 2 minutes from now, Solar's going to have 8,000 resources in the bank. GUMIHO's going to have nothing. And that's just the way TVZ goes, but you've got to also have your infrastructure up by then. The problem is GUMIHO's going to be so far behind in bank and not have his infrastructure up yet. And the fact that he's expanding to the bottom right, how do you defend this base in this wide open area and this base that's so far away? I mean, it's a nice choke point leading into it. He is trying to entrench the position. Soul is not going to give him a chance to do that. The Marine Marauder goes way too far out, gets caught out in the open. Ling's going in, picking off those SCVs that are building. Watch out on the right side. Hydra's here. The Bio's going to stim towards it. The rocks do go down, though. Nicely done by Solar. Greatest Bio's on the way. There's going to be such a reliance on those siege tanks to defend, and the Broodlords are going to be real stalemate breakers. Got to be careful here as GUMIHO pull back. Good spreadies, good stutter step. His micro is good. Unfortunately, on the left side, he does get hit by Banelings. He's losing a command center, 15 SCVs, but the Planetary barely survives. Oh, he will lose a command center that was almost finished building, though, and that's big. That costs so much money, and it's the time investment. At least he saves the Planetary, but as he expands to the bottom right, now GUMIHO is stretched very thin. He's going to need to defend from behind this command center, which is probably just going to be an orbital because he desperately needs more orbitals. But he'll need a few Hellbats or Widowmines scattered around there as well. Double drop moves to the bottom right side. Solar, he's got a Great Spire. He's not going to use it for a while. I think he feels like Hydraling Bane Viper can probably do pretty well. He's only got one Viper though, but Blinding Clouds will be big. More command centers trying to build for GUMIHO. He needs more time. And Solar, with 5,000 resources in the bank, is not keen to give him that time. Gotta watch out here. Double drop coming in. Oh no! Solar ready for it. Shuts down one of the full medevacs. Rolls in the front at the same time. Kills a building command center. These command centers on the front lines are easy targets. And Solar is very happy to kill a bunch of those. And units lost time is once again close to even. This is what happens when you don't have time to set up your defensive position well enough. I like the bunker up there. I think bunkers kind of spread around to lure the units in different directions is really nice. Kind of having a firing arc from far behind, different angles, Widowmine hidden behind the pillar. This is nice, but GUMIHO needs more time to set up those defenses. Solar's too smart to give it to him. There's just no way. I don't see him being able to get back into this game. He leaves 3 ghosts behind, not enough medevacs to save them all. And it's just, this is not a very exciting way for this series to start. I'm going to be brutally honest. GUMIHO is simply falling behind early game, and it's not that he's massively being outplayed by Solar. It's that he needs to play like the best late game player of all time, Maru, and even Maru would have a very tough time bringing these games back. Solar has the numbers, GUMIHO does not. This is the law of StarCraft economics. You know, it's usually more brutal when a player gets this far ahead, but because Solar's style is so defensive, gets to late game and plays methodically, rather than seeing, like if he was Dark, he would have won this game by now, because Dark would just go for the throat and rip GUMIHO's face off. But because Solar's a bit more of a defensive player, he's like, deny base, take good trade, pull back, remax, spread creep, add upgrade, remax, take good trade, go in, tactically retreat at the right time. And he's just slowly building very safe advantages for himself. If you're trading even with a Zerg, you are getting your ass kicked. And that's exactly what's happening right now. He's trying to scan to kill creep tumors from the high ground, and even then, the scan's going to run out before he can kill the tumors. Hydra Bane Viper rolls in again. He quickly picks up to run away. The tanks are getting overwhelmed. The base is overrun, and this is a disastrous start to the series for GUMIHO. I think GUMIHO's playing pretty good StarCraft, but he cannot be this far behind. If you're this far behind, you are basically dead. And unfortunately, he's got to tap out. Solar, really business as usual, building confidence in these first 2 games and crushing it. All right, guys, the series is going really well for Solar. I mean, if I was going to say, you know, Maru losing early on, but then also him being able to just crush Dark in the semis, this is Solar's season. Like, he's looking like he can finally get that GSL championship after so many years. We've got a command center first opening for GUMIHO. No more of that silly 2-Rax Reaper business. It hasn't worked out. 2 games in a row, he's ended up behind after the 2-Rax Reaper. So I definitely prefer this opening for GUMIHO. He's building a bunker for safety. That's interesting. Maybe a little bit of paranoia there. He's going Reaper into Reactor, early factory with the double gas. I like the idea of just going for a bit of a greedier build and switching it up. I would love to see GUMIHO's opening aggression, the Chaos, off a normal 1-Rax Expand or a Command Center first. I think he does some fantastic stuff. I just don't think the 2-Rax Reaper start has paid off. I think everything else he's done after it has been fine. It's just been from an inferior position to what it could be. And look at this. Solar's going to scout in with an Overlord. Ooh, Starport starts. Yeah, I was thinking this like a few days ago when I saw that Solar made top 4. I was like, this is Solar's time. And then I saw GUMIHO in Classic and Dark, and I was like, no offense to Dark, but Dark's won so many tournaments, I wasn't that excited for him. And I was like, dude, Classic, GUMIHO, or Solar, any of these 3 players winning GSL is massive. Classic hasn't won one in almost 10 years. GUMIHO hasn't won one since 2017, and Solar has never won a GSL. So it's exciting. It's very exciting. I say 2013, 2014, I think was the last time Classic won a GSL. I could be wrong. Open to being fact-checked on that. I think he might have won like a Super Tournament or a Casper Cup or something since then, but I'm not so sure. Maybe a Star League as well, but definitely not a... well, I don't think a GSL. Not definitely not. I don't know that for sure. Shouldn't put myself in a corner like that, should I? Oh, Widowmine drop again. I'm not that big a fan of the Widowmine drop first Zerg, guys. I feel like Widowmine drop first Zerg is like a build that occasionally pays off massively, but it's very inconsistent. Alright, he's gonna go across. Cyclone can clean up the Overlord. Does that kill it in time? Doesn't do as much damage as it used to, man. Its range is much shorter as well. It does barely take it out. Widowmines are on the way. Double Engineering Bay does go down. Third Command Center is there. We've got Hellions on the way. Stim's coming in. Starport building a reactor. Widowmine's just going to drop on the Overlord and take it out. Not a bad call. You've been spotted. Free damage is free damage, man. Spore Crawler on the natural. Also building one up in the main base. Bailey Nest goes down. Solar knows that GUMIHO's the kind of guy who goes for Armory Widowmines and then follows it up with Hellbats. And that's why he is very much preparing with an early Bailey Nest to blow up any Hellbat push. Where's the mech, says ACDC in the Twitch chat. Not against Solar. Solar has destroyed GUMIHO's mech so many times. He is literally... Solar is the reason GUMIHO stopped playing mech a year ago. Because he tried it so many times and he beat every Zerg, and then he'd run into Solar and Solar would 3-0 him in the most brutally one-sided games every time they'd play. And it was not even close. Solar is so good at figuring out that he's going mech and shutting it down. I feel like mech turns Terran into more of a Protoss style of race. And Solar's brutal against Protoss. You guys know how I describe Solar's play versus Protoss? He picks up a brick and he smashes it into their face and crushes their skull in. Like he just kills them. He just figures out what their build is, and then he finds the exact correct time and he shove roaches and queens across the map and win the game. And he does the exact same thing against mech pretty much every time he plays against it. Solar has a next level understanding for those kind of slower, more technical games. It's why he originally started his career as a Zerg vs Protoss sniper in Pro League 10, 11 years ago. Like, it was a long time ago. He wasn't a very good player at the time compared to the top guys, but they'd bring him out and he'd beat top Protoss players with a best of one. It's best of one in Pro League. You know, it was a single map. He'd just have a really well-prepared strategy. He'd understand how to counter their strategy reactively really well. And that's part of what made him initially successful as a pro player. Now, you haven't done any damage. That sucks as Terran. Does it really? No, because I feel in this scenario, his third's up way earlier. He's got that saturating nicely. And now he's got 1-1 combat shields. He's building some more Hellions. And he's going for an Arax. Oh, he's going Arax, guys. But wait, watch out. There's an Overseer coming across the map. And I don't think he knows about it. That's going to scout those barracks pretty early for Solar. And seeing that it's an Arax will be massive. It's still very hard to stop. I don't know which base you push towards as GUMIHO. Usually where he clears creep the most is where he's going to push. So if he stays here, it tells us he's going to shove right in between the bases up towards the natural. Whereas if he rotates north, that's probably where he'll push. So keep an eye out on where these medevacs do hang out. And look at that, guys. Let's go to Solar's vision. He sees it. He sees the barracks. Drops the changeling. Yeah, he knows exactly what's happening. So if we look at Solar's vision, he builds one more drone. That's... You don't want to build any more drones versus an 8-Rax. You just want to make army. He builds 4 more drones and a gas. Did he not notice? Oh my god, he might not have noticed that this was an 8-Rax. He might think, oh, it's a normal timing for an 8-Rax. I'm hoping Solar realizes what's up right now. We are watching from his camera view. It's 1-1 upgrades will be finished, but 2-2's so far ahead for GUMIHO. Taking a 5th base as well. I mean, 5th base is fine. He can use it as a macro, but he's making Overlord speed. Solar's making a lot of things that are extra. 8 more drones as well. Solar has no idea. He scouted 8-Rax, but he didn't pay attention, guys. He did not pay attention. He literally right now can see there are 7 barracks on the map. And now the attack's coming through, but oh, GUMIHO overextending. GUMIHO a little slow on the pickup there, loses a bunch of Marines. He lost 4 Marines, 2 Elbats, a Widowmine. Okay, it's not too bad. It's only a few Marines. That was not too bad. And now the push is coming. Now what's crazy about this push is he's gone for Hellbats and Widowmines. He's not actually building tanks with it. Normally you go tanks with this push, but he's going for the Marauder heavy version of the build. He's also forgotten Concussive. That's the most important upgrade with this sort of push. You need Concussive shells for your Marauders. GUMIHO looking to fight back in this series. I like the idea of the build, but the execution so far is missing a few details. He's still got to wait before forcing the fight. 30 more seconds till his upgrades kick in. GUMIHO needs to be really methodical, and I want to see him pre-spread these units. So the way this army works, with a bio tank army, you want to run around in a big ball, but with a Hellbat army, you want to be spread out ahead of time. And Flash taught us this back in 2013, but GUMIHO's microing in a big ball. He's got a ball at the front and a ball in the back. So this is not the way you want to set this army up. You want to pre-spread it, and it is not pre-spread at all. I don't want to be too critical, but I definitely think GUMIHO has got to be careful. He remembered Concussive, though. He remembered Concussive. That's going to finish very soon, about 20 seconds away. I think GUMIHO's got such a big army advantage. Solar was so greedy. I think GUMIHO should be able to win this game. A little slow on the stim, though. He does take a few Banelings, but the Widowmines have got some big kills. That's a 26 kill Widowmine right there. Fight starts pretty well, but wait, his army's splitting up. GUMIHO splits his army. That's got to be a mistake. GUMIHO splits his army on both sides. Banelings clear the left. Banelings clear the right. GUMIHO, absolutely disastrous micro. Completely screws the pooch. He still is up 17 army supply after the worst engagement I've seen in a while. GUMIHO perhaps tilted from game 1 and game 2. He's in trouble right now. Now he does a beautiful spread. That's the spread we need to see. Marauders up front, Marines in the back. But he doesn't have much firepower behind it. He's way behind in the numbers. The Marauders need to spread out, as do the Marines. That's a lot of Hydras, though. And as you spread backwards, the Hydras clean your front line so well. This is where this fight gets nasty. Now that there's 18 Hydras out with range and movement speed, the Bio does have a 2-2 versus 1-1 upgrade advantage, but there is way too much Zerg. Solar was so greedy, so losing the first battle was so decisive. Massive mistakes there for GUMIHO, forgetting the Concussive, clumping his army too much, but most importantly, that attack around both sides was an absolute disaster. That was crazy. He's up 30 army supply. This should be GG in his favor, and then he splits his army? I don't know what this was, guys. This is crazy. I think he felt like he had to attack into the Hydras, because otherwise you can't spread back too much, or the Hydras do really well. But clumping, like, that was a huge mistake putting those units on the right side. He has to force Solar to keep fighting into him, clear the Ling Baneling, and when most of the Banelings are gone, he can just stim on the Hydras and kill them. It's very complicated micro. I don't want to undersell how hard it is once they get Hydras up. If you don't have siege tanks, it's really difficult micro, but this was a big mistake for GUMIHO. I think this was a good strategy for him. Solar misread it. He scouted the 8 barracks, didn't react to it accordingly. He over-droned on 5 bases, and he should have lost this game, but now GUMIHO finds himself down 0-3. All right, guys, going into the next game, GUMIHO, unfortunately, I think a little bit tilted going into that previous game. I think there's a sense of hopelessness where the moment gets to you. Representing Cloud9, by the way. I love that they picked GUMIHO up before this top 4 of the GSL. But I really feel like it gets to you. And so something to share is I didn't see any teammates or friends up there talking to him in between the matches. And I don't know if they don't allow that or not, because I didn't see anyone there for Solar either. Maybe they changed the rules, because it used to be there'd always be friends coming up and talking to them, or coaches like in between the games. And maybe they made a rule so you can't do that. But I really feel like GUMIHO needed, after that last game, not the last one, sorry, the second game, to have someone come up and talk to him and calm him down. Because I remember cheering, and I was watching it, and I was going, please send someone up there, send someone up, someone go and tell him, hey man, you were so far behind from the 2x Reaper opening. Like, you actually played good StarCraft. Don't doubt yourself. Just literally play your normal game. Just don't fall behind at the start, and you'll be good. And I think that's what GUMIHO, if I had to read into his facial expressions after game 2 and the big mistakes we just saw him make in game 3, I think he's tilted. I think I saw him shaking his head, looking very frustrated. I think there's a helplessness that sets in at the end of a 16, 17-minute game where you're like, man, I just couldn't do anything against Solar. And it's easy to forget that 4 or 5 minutes in, you fell quite far behind and you were fighting from a disadvantage for the rest of the game. And the simple thing is, if you can remember that perspective of like, oh, I was just way behind, let's just fix that. This is not as complicated of a problem as it seems in my head, then that can be really good. Great Reaper Harass. This is a good start for Gumi. Double Spore Trick is really nice. That's a lot of money wasted. Oh no, and then he misclicks the Reaper. Oh, come on, GUMIHO. Get your shiz together, please, mate. I'm cheering for GUMIHO. 100%, guys. Number one, GUMIHO has a really cool style of Terran. Even before the series started, I was a little more on his side than Solar. Solar plays a very solid defensive style of Zerg versus Terran. His ZvP, brutally aggressive and effective. His ZvZ, brutally aggressive and very effective as well. I like Solar a lot, but I think Solar's style looks best when his opponent is pushing him to the edge and making him perform at a peak level. And so far, being up 3-0, of course, Solar, I feel like, isn't having to really show that much flair. There is finesse in the details of his defense. He is playing an excellent GSL finals, do not get me wrong. But I want GUMIHO to win this map and the next map, and maybe even the next map. I want to see Solar get tested. I want to see Solar show just how much fire he has in him to withstand the aggression of a creative player like GUMIHO. And that, I think, will create a much more exciting series. And I want to see GUMIHO show these really cool creative build orders. So far, I love this build order a lot more. A low ground single Barracks Reaper wall-off into Hellions. He misclicked his Hellions, so one of them did go to the wrong side. Not the end of the world. Notice he clicks the lava, but Solar very quickly turns that into an Overlord. The egg has 200 hit points, so it does survive a lot of that. Third command center coming up on the high ground, so it's kind of like a weird 2-1-1. Did he forget to build the reactor? I think it's just part of the build. This is a single gas 2-1-1. Oh, look at this, guys. This is all on one gas. Oh, what a cool build order. So he's kind of getting a Marine Hellion timing together with the Medivacs and Stim. So he's kind of going to do that, but he's also got a quick third command center. So it's a mixture of a 2-1-1, but with less Medivacs, and a Hellion opening, but with less Hellions, and a quick third command center, but not quite as quick as normal. This is the beauty of GUMIHO's openings, is he's like, I want the strengths of a Hellion opening, but I also want the strengths of a Stim Marine opening, and I also want a third command center. And you're like, normally I would say, well, you can't do everything at once, can you? That's just not how StarCraft works. And GUMIHO's like, yeah, I can. Like, obviously I'll have a little bit less of each of those things, but I'm still going to get all those different pieces. And it's going to create an unusual situation that unless you play against GUMIHO a lot, you have no experience against dealing with. Why are there 4 Hellions, 8 Stim Marines at 5 minutes, and a super fast third command center into double engineering bay? This is a GUMIHO special, and I love it. That being said, Solar's macro, not to be perturbed, already getting himself up to a 14-15 worker advantage. We've got a single Evo chamber and a Baneling Nest on the way. Creep Tumor's getting sniped down. I think it sounds like you want to be coaching GUMIHO. I always want good games. And when I see a player kind of isolated up on that big stage, I know how easy it is to lose the context in a game of StarCraft. Especially if they don't, I don't know if they let you watch the replay, but if they let you sit there and rewind and watch the replay for a good 5 minutes after each game, I would definitely advise every player to take that chance, especially on a big stage. Pros they make a lot of assumptions about the game. We all do. It's a game of limited information. And it's really important on the bigger stages to really make sure you're seeing the game factually, and you're not just going off of your impression of what happened in the game. You want to have your impression, and then you want to open the replay and confirm, is that what actually happened? And I don't think GUMIHO did that after Game 1 and Game 2. That being said, his strategy this game is fantastic. Mass Marines, combat shields now done, and a single medevac down the right side. Remember, if these guys get surrounded, there's only one medevac they can't pick up. Zergling does get picked off on the third. Hellions are defending that. Creep getting cleared on this right. It's hard for Solar to get a fourth base up right now. Second Evo chamber goes down for Solar. He's going to go maybe for a big Ling Bane counterattack. Marines are open to find the Creep Tumors, but they're very safe back there. As the second and third medevac join up, we're going to have about 40 Marines, 3 medevacs. 3 medevacs can only save 24 of these Marines. If Solar commits to a fight, yeah, he's going to leave some of those Marines behind. Oh, bit of an odd choice there. But big drop in the main. Ballsy move for GUMIHO. As long as he stays on top, he can just pick up and leave. Not a bad move. Those Marines on the low ground are going to pull back as well. Behind this, Armory is on the way. It's on 5 barracks right now is GUMIHO. No rushing towards a 4th command center this time or anything like that. Single gas on the 3rd base goes up. Siege tanks are still building. It's a great map for tanks. Hecate is insane for siege tank positioning. Like, these bridges create nasty areas. I would actually love to see Solar breaking the rocks down here and over here as soon as possible. Even if you just send a few Zerglings to do it, you want to do that earlier rather than later, or those follow-up tank pushes are going to be nasty. Pretty good micro by GUMIHO. Looks like a couple Marines went down, but if it's just a few Marines and they're wasting Banelings on it, it's not really a big deal. Each Marine takes 2 Banelings to kill. If you drop 3 Marines into Banelings and 6 Banelings die for it, it's a great trade for the Terran. A couple drones cancelling a Spore as well. Nicely done. Infestation Pit's on the way for Solar. He's got +1 melee, +2 carapace right now. Oh! Solar's done a good job of splitting his army, but... Oh! Cancel into rebuild. Nice move there by Solar. Quickly rebuilds that. A tank and a few Marines on the right, or the left, I should say. Hellbat there as well. I like that tank positioning. Marines are going to go forward and start to punish this. I think just clicking on the hatchery might be the play here. Focus the Spore down. That's a really good move. Banelings on the right. Coming in. Careful. Oh, he's going to put him back to 3 base. He kills the base on the right side and saves the Marines there as well. Hellbat spreading there. Beautiful play by GUMIHO. Keeping the Zerg on 3 base. Solar's in a really bad position now. 3 base Zerg is not a good spot. 4th command center is almost finished. 2nd factory is now up, building a tech lab. He wants that double tank production. 2-2 upgrades are about even with +2 carapace. +1 melee only now finishing for Solar. So upgrades are slightly ahead for GUMIHO. They're a little ahead. He's going to be taking a 4th base earlier than Zerg can get a 4th mining. Oh, GUMIHO a little slow. Does lose about 8 Marines there. And his medevacs take a big amount of damage. Looks like he F2'd those while picking these guys up on the right. Units lost tab 1,200 resources in favor of GUMIHO. One of the best ratios that he's had. You can see from the bar just how much less he's lost compared to Solar. He's got a new Marine tank push on the right. He's going to do tank split pushes. Wow, okay, that's kind of ballsy. Okay, maybe he's going to join everything up. Normally, tanks are all about joining your whole army together for one killer push. Splitting your tanks and Marines up into various angles on the map is very, very odd. Oh, no. Oh, my lord. Oh, my lord, you got to focus the Banelings. Focus the Banelings with the tank. Oh, my god, the Banelings. Oh, god. You know, that could have been worse, but no, there's 2 more Banelings. Oh, god. Oh, Solar, he's losing, he's killing so many. Lings on the right at the same time. Oh my lord, GUMIHO's so ahead in this game, but now suddenly losing 17 workers to a small run by. That's awkward for GUMIHO. He's going to feel the pressure to push now more than ever. Vipers are on the way. +2-2 is finished for Terran. +2 carapace done for Zerg. Melee still lagging behind. Adrenal glands has not been made just yet. It's just begun. The Marine tank on the right still posturing out here. Bit of a dangerous spot to be. That's such a big ball of Marines in GUMIHO. As long as he doesn't go too deep on creep. I think he's got enough medevacs to pick up and get out of there. Marines trying to fall back. He's trying to gun down those Banes. Oh, gotta be careful about losing all those Marines. Does save most of these units, and he's going to pull back. 2 medevacs deep in the red. Does not want to risk flying into Queens in the main base. Marines on the left deny the attempt for a new 5th base. Solar's 4th is mining in the top left. 4 base versus 4 base. Extra command center starts here for GUMIHO. GUMIHO does not want to take his foot off the aggression, though. A 5th command center is not a big late-game commitment. He's making 3-3 vehicle weapons, libs, bio, tanks. His last 3 barracks do not have add-ons. GUMIHO needs to keep up the aggression and needs to keep trading. Hive Tech is here. Solar's on 80 workers. If you give Solar a minute, he's going to turn this into lurkers. He's going to be able to get Vipers. He's going to start getting efficiency in these fights. It's still a very stressful situation for the Terran, but these bridges are absolute Zerg kill zones. You do not want this hatchery. This is one of the worst bases on this map because of that bridge. It's just he's been under so much pressure on the right side. He's been pushed off this base, whereas you really want this base and then this base as the Zerg, and then you're spread across a very wide front, but it's hard for Terran to take advantage of that because they also are spreading themselves very thin. Carapace coming in as well as those lurker upgrades. 17 Hydras are out. Do not attack those rocks, Solar. Don't waste your Banelings attacking those rocks, mate. If he attacks without the Banelings, it's fine. But if he A moves the Banelings onto it or A clicks them, they will all detonate. There we go. 4 more command centers building. GUMIHO's prepping for late game now. Ghost Academy's on the way. This man's buying up tinned food. He's got big containers of water. Whole bunch of different ammunition and weaponry you never thought you'd need, but the man is ready. Building a cabin in the woods, learning how to make a fire with just a piece of stick and some tinder. A piece of stick. That's an interesting turn of phrase there, Pig. Turn of phrase might be a bit too kind to the absolute garbage words that just came out of your mouth there. But anyways, a couple drones going down. Was that the Liberator? Oh, Liberator rotated to the right side. Nicely done. 4 workers going down. I mean, GUMIHO's settling into the late game. I don't like it. I prefer he just went in the mid game. But let's be real. He went to late game willingly in game 1 and game 2, played from way behind, and he played decently. I did not say at any point that he was getting outplayed by Solar. It felt simply like Solar was way ahead. This time, he goes to late game from ahead. He's building mass command center, but I am curious to see how he plays it out. Right now, he's still very mobile on the map. And free command center on the left will get picked off. That gets killed, not cancelled. Army is moving in to try to respond. Oh, 2 command centers. Good trade there for Solar. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. If he can get the abducts. He goes for the parasitic bombs. Massive mistake for Solar. If he abducted those medevacs, he could have abducted 4 of the 5 and killed every single Marine. But he goes for the parasitic bombs. This is a piece of muscle memory. A lot of the pros have. That's been absolutely frustrating me over the last few months. I've been talking about this a lot. If you've got Hydras out, I know you early in the game you don't have Hydras. If you have Hydras, they load up Marines into medevacs. You always abduct. If you can abduct that medevac right after they pick up, it will kill like every Marine inside instantly. It's so good. Solar continuing forwards, but oh! Okay, that's a good position to be in. SCVs and Marines trying to defend the main. Lings are coming out. The Nidus does go down. Good defense by GUMIHO. He should be able to defend this, and it looks like he just barely will be able to. Good fight on the right side as well. What do we call a collection of sticks, says Twitch chat? You guys have trapped me. You guys know I'll say it. A barcode. GG, get wrecked, Twitch chat. Hatchery building on the right side, building armor, high-sec auto tracking on the production tab. GUMIHO is making all of the upgrades, but he lost 2 command centers, which means he's only got 4 orbitals right now. He does not have the Iron Bank, and this is why I don't like building command centers on the front line so much, because it gives the Zerg very high-value pickoffs that are exposed on the front line. He needs to be making more orbital command centers to elongate his ability to play this game out. Ghostlord on the way as well. 13 siege tanks. Broodlords would be a problem. He's got a few ghosts, but nothing else to deal with Broodlords. Solar's got money as well. I really feel like Broodlords is the underrated transition, kind of like range libs in PBT, but uh-oh. There's no... Oh, where are the tanks? Okay, the tanks are behind. Great pullback. Good parasitic bomb for Solar. Another good parasitic bomb. Oh, the parasitic bomb's killing so many medevacs. Really nice parasitic bombs, but the ground army got wrecked by GUMIHO's position. Solar finds a tank, finds a couple ghosts, so only 1 ghost actually goes down there. And really good defense here by GUMIHO. GUMIHO's built the Olympic rings, or at least 3/5 of it on the map. You can see these white circles, these dotted lines, giving him sensor tower vision of any Zerg units moving into his territory. His orbital count is up to 6 now, getting closer and closer to having the Iron Bank complete. Once you get to 7 orbitals is kind of the minimum requirement that I give for the Iron Bank moniker, the title of having pretty much unlimited scans. If you can get to 10 orbitals, that's the dream. Marines pulling back right now. Lings, Banelings, Hydras coming on forwards. Oh me, oh my. Tank there getting some massive shots off. Oh, you gotta be careful. Oh my god, he's attacking around the terrain. He's actually clearing the tanks. Solar's actually clearing a lot of the artillery in the backline, but there's just so many tanks layered back there, and oh, the counter drop is going to be brutal. Solar's out of money right now. He has no bank. He has no bank, and the Hydraling Bane is not an efficient composition, especially not with GUMIHO's setup as well as he is in this game. GUMIHO was not behind. He was, in fact, ahead off the opening, and we see that he is much more well-matched with Solar. When he's had a good early game, he destroys Solar. It's a shame we haven't seen them go to late game from a more even position, but it looks like, I think GUMIHO's supply is not that good, actually. His money's not that big either, even though his efficiency is being great. He's still up in army supply, he denies the gold base. Hydra's coming forward. There's just not enough Zerg to follow through. 3 tanks and a planetary, and oh, Solar misclicks in the wrong direction. He corrects it, but not until he takes heavy shots. Now that tree gets cancelled in the left, and Hydraling Bane Viper ain't gonna do this. The unit's loss tab's going from bad to worst. He's down 11,000 resources. He misclicks again. He's gonna have to shift click those units if he wants to bring those to the top left. Ooh. All right, Viper's on the way. Armory building right now. We've got a single starport, 4 factories, 8 barracks. Great production for GUMIHO. He's finally making vehicle plating upgrades. Tanks are spread backwards. Picks up, gets out of there. Fungal and the Hydras take out a full medevac. Nicely done, but only 1 full medevac goes down. Command Center in the top left is isolated. Great pick-off there for Solar. If he can take that out. Can he take it out, though? He might be scared away from this. GUMIHO's trying to scare him back. GUMIHO doesn't really have the mobile numbers of units here to deal with this. Command Center does escape, though. He's sieging a tank right next to the army. A bizarre decision for GUMIHO. A lot of his army's on the right side, cleaning up a Nidusworm. Solar's income right now is at 3,000 minerals a minute. I don't know how it's at that much. I guess he's still got a few minerals just kind of scattered across these bases that are slowly mining. GUMIHO's not as decisive as I'd like to see. I really want to see him just stop expanding to this top left base. Take this base. It's right in front of your best defensive position. I really feel like this is a mistake I've criticized Maru for, Clem for, every Terran. Is if most of your army's focused on one side of the map and you've got a base just in front, just make it an orbital, put 1 or 2 tanks on the low ground with lots of tanks on the high ground, and if they come in, just pull the SCVs, lift the command center. Terrible fight for the Zerg, great fight for the Terran. But if you take a base in the very opposite side of the map, when you know Zerg has the mobility advantage, you're basically playing into their hands. And it's a silly mistake for Terran players to be making. I'm hoping GUMIHO doesn't make that mistake again in this game. He was pretty far ahead. He is thankfully denying one of these very important bases of Solar, because Solar's mining was kind of out of control. And even with his efficiency being great, he still needs to make sure he keeps securing new bases, because he's going to be mining out on these. This 3rd base almost gone. 4th and 5th still pretty healthy for him. But he's going to need base number 6, and I'm curious to see where GUMIHO establishes that. Looks like he's focused on this one. For those who don't know, this base does have 2 gold minerals, 3 gold minerals, 3 blue minerals. Very cool bases off on these low ground edges. They're very exposed, easy to push, easy to deny. Got a bit of bonus there. Okay, guys. 18 siege tanks are out. GUMIHO's going to 20. If Solar does not play Broodlords, he simply cannot win this game. Against that tank count, you will never find a way to engage. Nice blinding clouds, but there's no way to capitalize on it. He's got Viper Infestor, Hydraling Bane. Those tanks are raining down death from afar. The Liberator count is too much as well. GUMIHO, even with just a handful of bio units, their job is simply to bait the Zerg into the Liberator and tank zones. Single Abduct does go down on that Liberator, but there is way too much behind it. Solar needs Broodlords to break the tanks, but there's a decent ghost count, a few Vikings. He has never made a Spire this game. He's been kind of on the back foot for too long, and he's just going to keep on running into the meat grinder. There's no choices left. Solar needs this base. He needs to fight, but he simply cannot defend it. Look at how far back this tank line goes. Great unburrow, double fungal on the Ghosts. The Ghosts get cleaned up on the left. Oh my god, is this enough? Solar pushes forward, but the tank lib, look at how far it stretches back. He cannot get across that. That is a bridge too far there. This is Arnhem or whatever, guys. I don't know. We're in Holland, apparently. We're in Roddy's homeland. And we were not expecting to meet such heavy armored divisions to be... I mean, the Terran are very German, right? They're very World War II German. They got sick tanks. They're kind of nasty. And they're crushing it. Now, he's going to take both extreme bases at once. This is, like I said, it's usually a super bad call in a close game to do this as GUMIHO. Because look at this right side defensive position. This is the worst defensive position ever. This side is also spread so thin. But I think he's far enough ahead. It might be okay. Man, he's gifting trades to Solar. This is very bad positioning by GUMIHO. He was in a fantastic position. And he still is ahead. But he's making this closer than he needs to. Can deny this base on the right. That'll be good. But that gold base is mining on the left now. Solar's coming over here to try and defend this. I think Solar feels like, hey, if I can defend this base, I might have this. This is still a big army, though. And look at that tank position. Okay, now this right side is super reinforced. Very nice reinforced side there. 13 kills on that siege tank, 1 kill on that, 5 kills on that. Nidusworm going up in the main, but there's a siege tank ready for it. Pete, the dirty changeling, comes in there and goes, hey guys, I'm just one of the dudes, I'm one of the bros hanging out here. definitely not spotting for Nidus Worms. Lurker Viper trying to come forward. Hydra Bane comes across the bridge on the left. The tanks are there. Great Fungal on the right. Parasitic Bombs on the Medivacs, but the tank line is deep. Oh, man. Oh me, oh my. That tank line is so deep. 17,000 resources lost advantage. 6 siege tanks were stuck in the main, guys. The Nidus Worm actually made GUMIHO realize those tanks were stuck, I think behind this siege tank or something like that. So he's now lowered his depots or let them out, maybe by killing a building, and he's bringing 6 new tanks across the map. GUMIHO, his supply is actually not that crazy, but I think he just feels he has the numbers advantage. He's getting very sloppy in the tail end of this game. The Lurker Nidus from the bottom right comes up, pops up, starts sieging that base. Nice moves for Solar. Solar's actually doing things, and the thing is, what's worrying for GUMIHO is he's making a lot more mistakes than he should be from such a superior position, and most of them are centered around him trying to secure 2 extreme edges of the map at once. And that's something that has been the demise of many Terrans over the last year or 2, especially back on the, what was the Stripper Booty map? What was that called? Glittering Ashes, Glittering Asses as some people called it. That map pool was very turtly, and it was really the Terrans who just focused on one base at a time, one expansion in front of another that usually had success. It was always, you'd always see players try and cover the map in command centers, and if you get away with it, great, you're mining everywhere, you do win the game, but it was always a little silly. GUMIHO loses his command center, he doesn't repair it, he lost a command center to 2 Lurkers. I mean, GUMIHO is making this game so much closer than it needs to be. He's only on 40 SCVs, and I hate to be critical in a GSL finals, but I guarantee you, very, very calm, not as emotionally involved GUMIHO. I think he'd agree. If he was watching this today, I think he'd agree. I just secure this base and then take this base that's right in front of it. I don't mind him trying to deny these bases on the left, but he's traded so much better, and as Terran, you always will continue to trade better. All you need to do is slow things down, not speed things up. He's got a big army advantage. He's got 24 siege tanks with almost nothing else. 3 Broodlords would win this game, but Solar does not have that tech. He tries to come in. The tank count is ridiculous, and that's going to be that. Solar has to tap out. GUMIHO with a pure siege tank army accidentally swaps into mech at the end of that game. I clicked the tank button, by the way, and it showed me a 52 kill siege tank. Who the hell was that? Who was that? Who the hell was that guy? Oh my god, GG, well played. This series is not over. GUMIHO gets himself a map. Back in the series, is he? Well, he needs at least another win to make this close. Let's see what he can do on Solaris. GUMIHO in the top right side of the map. Solar in the bottom left. And I can't wait to see what the heck we've got in store, because that was a very good early through mid, and even early late game was good. But I was very critical of GUMIHO's positioning later on. I don't think he needed to make that as close as it was. It felt a little bit like GUMIHO is indiscriminately putting tanks just everywhere. And I really feel as a Terran, you want to think about it. Say you're defending this base here. You don't want to just spread tanks everywhere in front of it. You want to think that's the choke point. I want a firing arc on that choke point. I want a tank here, a tank here, a tank here, and a tank here. And I guarantee you that's really hard for a Zerg to deal with, because you're all concentrating your firepower on this ramp. You put a planetary or a bit of a wall off. Nasty position to attack into. You then think, okay, my other base is up here. I don't just stick tanks out here. I think, no, that's a choke point. That's a choke point. I want tank here, 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 to fire on units as they come through the choke points where we can maximize damage. I feel like GUMIHO's been kind of just peppering tanks all over the map a little indiscriminately, and I'd like to see him just be a little more tactical with that. It feels like he's trying to control the map with mass siege tank in that last game, and I'd like him to just focus a little bit more on defending these extreme points with a concentration of firepower. I think that's what he might be lacking a little bit in that later stage. Nonetheless, great to see him win a map and play as well as he did. And Solar, like many Zergs, when they're on the back foot, they think, I can't afford Broodlords. But man, would they have been banging. Pure siege tank army at the end. So weak to Broodlords. It's crazy. Now, this is a 2x Reaper opening. You guys know I don't like this 2x Reaper opening, so it's okay in general. I really like when Beyond does it because he's so good at getting value out of it, but I really feel it's a Beyond special that other players could mix in once in a while, but to see it so many games in this series, not my favorite. I love the opening in the last one as well, because we had some Hellions, some Stim Marine, you know, there's the mixture of different harassments in multiple places, which I think is where GUMIHO excels, is kind of befuddling his opponent, coming in from surprising angles and catching them off guard. Reaper tickling the Zerglings. Careful. Good micro by Solar. Doesn't lose a single Zergling. Really well done. Queens are now out. He's going to be moving out. Creep Tumor to connect the bases as quickly as possible. Inject on the natural. And we're still building Reapers. He's going to go 5 Reapers. Okay, he's looking to cancel the third. And look, there's a drone hidden. That's going to come up and build the third. So the thing is, GUMIHO hasn't seen that drone. He doesn't know about it. But if he can go up there and cancel the third, that'll be great. Oh, Reaper's dead. Oh, he's diving again, man. Losing a Reaper means he can't 2-shot drones. It takes him 3 shots, see? Unfortunate for GUMIHO here. Loses a Reaper, doesn't find the damage he was looking for. Drone's going to come in to take that third base now. Link speed is almost finished. I think the baby in the other room is a GUMIHO fan. After losing that Reaper, I heard it make a factory third command center. It's not my baby, by the way. I feel like I just mentioned, I've got some friends over right now. I mention things like this when I'm casting sometimes, and people are like, oh, congratulations or something. And I'm like, oh, what? No. Gonna have like a month of people congratulating me about having a kid that I haven't had. I too made that noise when GUMIHO lost the Reaper, says a Terran Twitch chatter. I enjoy it. 9 drones on the way. I mean, this doesn't feel like a good opening, guys. 9 drones, all in production at once, or 11 drones, I should say. We're gonna get a big worker advantage. Yes, you got a third command center, but this is reminiscent of Game 1 and Game 2. Let's see what GUMIHO can do differently to turn this into a more competitive game than Map 1 and Map 2. Depot starting up very early here for GUMIHO. Normally don't start that till after 50 supply, but I guess with 2 barracks pumping away, and that's why, if you're pumping off 2 barracks with add-ons and a reacted factory, that chews through your supply very quickly. So you realize I need to start these depots earlier rather than later. Armory's on the way as well. Looks like it will be a Hellbat Marine timing. And you know what? Double Evo Chamber. Solar's playing greedy. Double Evo is the weakest strategy for Zerg up against this, because your upgrades won't be ready in time for the Hellbats. And you're not going to have Banelings or Roaches. It's all going to be about your Queen Zergling count. Right now, there's 5 Queens, soon to be 7. And the question for me is, do we keep building Queens? Because if Solar goes to 9 or 10 Queens, you can defend. There we go. Starts another Queen. So that's 8 Queens starting. Another Queen pops in the natural. Solar queues up another Queen or 2. He might be safe. If he doesn't, it could definitely be problematic. 4 Hellions in the medevac. He's trying to hide the fact that there's going to be Hellbats with this to the last possible second. Lairs on the way. Tons of drones coming out for Solar. He doesn't have a lot of transfuse energy right now. Only 1. Oh, he's about to have a second and a third. Okay. Oh, he's actually going to split this up. I think if GUMIHO just did a classic frontal Hellbat Marine stim timing, he kills Solar here. Solar only has 17 Zerglings and 8 Queens with not that much energy. If he had Hellbats and Stim Marines running in, I actually think that might have done massive damage, but he's going to go for the multi-prong. This could still work out really big. Zergling's going to suck versus that. The Marines aren't really pressuring at the same time, though. That's one thing where GUMIHO's potentially in trouble. Picks up and backs away. That's interesting. I thought he would really stay there. The problem is that drones can always evade Hellbats. So they can always deny mining time Hellbats, and they're annoying to deal with, but ooh, good interception. Get some damage. Overlord is there as well. We've got the third command center is mining. Double upgrades on the way. Third barracks coming in right now. Looks like GUMIHO is going to have to just chill, clear up a bit of map vision, and continue the macro. 4th and 5th barracks goes down. Starport now in the reactor. Factory on the tech lab. 4th hatchery is on the way. If he could have cancelled this 4th hatchery, I feel like GUMIHO's position would be really awesome. But with that thing about to finish, I do think Solar might just get up to 80, 85 workers by about 7.5 minutes, and that's scary. You did not want Solar on that 85 worker count. Remember game 1, it was 88 workers at like 7 minutes. This is not quite as bad as that. But now as that 4th finishes, I do think Solar's going to be large and in charge. Evo Chambers have finished 1-1, so 2-2 could start. And they do. Man, the upgrade advantage 1-1 is only 45 seconds complete here for GUMIHO. GUMIHO's committed a lot to try and find some damage, and he has not found it just yet. Oh! Hellbats go in the main. They don't actually kill that many Zerglings, though. He tries to steer around the Spore Crawler, finds another Spore Crawler. Dude. I love that the Spore Crawler's attack name, by the way, is Acid Spew. Roach's Acid Saliva. Like, basically every Zerg unit is just like claws, talons. I think drone is claws, Zerg is a claws, talons or acid spines. It's literally just different types of biting and scratching and vomiting on your opponent. That's every Zerg attack is biting, scratching, or vomiting. What a fantastic race they are. This is the race that I competed with for many years. Something about being a bunch of goopy bugs biting, scratching, and vomiting on your opponents that always spoke to me, you know? Marines and Reapers coming down on the left. 4th Command Center's on the way. Oh, watch out. It's only a single tank. This is GUMIHO almost pretending to do a real attack. It's not that big a commitment. He's trying to just deny the creep, force a big overreaction. He doesn't have many units at home. Why has he got so few units at home? Sling Bane counterattack could do a lot of damage because he's got so few units. Looks like he skipped a beat on his production to start 2-2 at 4th Command Center and get the Tech Lab 2nd factory going. He now does have double tank production available. 5 Marines and a Hellbat from the north, and they could get a good little snipey snipe. Solar setting up a flank in the south as he gives up control of that base. And, oh, there's only 2 medevacs! There's only 2 medevacs, guys. A lot of these units are getting left for dead. Oh, damn. Boom, boom. Acid Baneling spew all over their face. What's the Baneling called? Volatile Burst. Oh. I don't even know why I say it in that voice, but... You want some of my Volatile Burst, Terran player? Well... I know it says Fusion Cutter, but I still call it the Drill, the SCV, because let's be real. They do actually stab units with their drill if you look at the animation, rather than with the cutter. Hive's on the way, as well as the Lurker Den. Solar's in a good position, but GUMIHO's got a 4th. Let's see how he can play this into the late game. I think this is the easiest 5th base to take, but they're all pretty hard on Solaris. You get spread out a lot, and those massive Baneling swarming attacks are a big problem. Oh, no, 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 no! GUMIHO's in trouble. Quick evacuation. Quick lift on the command center. Great reaction. Great reaction by Gumi. Comes in, cleans up a few more drones, trying to long-distance mine and retake that top base. He's going to clean the 5th base here at the same time, runs in the bottom. Loses a few Marines, but he's going to pick up, drop to the high ground. Oh, the Acid Spew catches him out, though. The Chunder from down under. Both of those medevacs are getting shot down in the bottom, which means there's no way home for them. And a lot of Marines do get left behind in the north as well. He does get 15 drones. In of itself, that seems really good. We're used to looking at 15 drones and going, that's big damage. It's not. Look at the units lost tab. Dead even in units lost. And Solar's still on 70 workers, which is more than enough right now. He can just mass this army. He can keep on spamming out units, and he's still got an overwhelming position as long as he's got... Well, he did lose this hatchery as well by the looks of it, so he's only on 4 bases. That is one thing going well for GUMIHO. Picks up, saves some Marines on the south. GUMIHO's trying to take a 5th. There is no way he can defend a 5th right now. That is utter madness. He's on a high work account. He's trying to get away with ridiculous levels of greed. It is barely outside of Solar's vision. GUMIHO doing split Marine tank pushes. It's a very beyond style of StarCraft. He does save 16 Marines in the north, but it feels like he's always a little low on medevacs to save everything. The Marines are going to chase off Solar there, and that planetary needs to get erected. Remember, guys, planetaries are a very geriatric form of defense. They take a while to get up, and they will take a little bit there because he's not even starting it. 3-3 on the way for Terran, but +3 carapaces ahead for the Zerg. We've also got Lurker upgrades, or at least one of them has come in. A big wave of Lurker morph could be a problem. There are some tanks on the high ground, but these depots, that factory, very exposed. You can lift the command center and run the SCVs, but you can't save the rest. Oh, he's not running the SCVs! He's not running the SCVs. He's trying to hide them behind the mineral line. I think he should have just done a runner, but it looks like he does manage to keep him alive. Solar backs off. And if only there was a planetary here. Then again, planetary wouldn't have been able to escape, so there's an argument that is enough Banelings and Hydras to kill a planetary. Probably better that he kept that in command center form. The tank on the other side, 20 kills now. I love that tank positioning there. Could even be a little bit further down to the right. Great Marine move. Catches a lot of Solar's units. Back in the win column in the units lost tab is GUMIHO. But remember, he's fighting for dear life. Solar is fighting for his first ever GSL championship. Oh, that command center, he landed it, but he didn't repair it. Oh, no. And the Vipers come in and say, thank you very much, grabbing both of the tanks and letting the command center escape. He sees the Marines in the top left and he pulls his whole army back. A bit of a blunder for Solar. He could have pulled back and killed the command center in the siege tank. I mean, he defends his base. It's still good for Solar, but definitely a little surprising he let that one escape. Oh no, an F2 for GUMIHO. He loses 2 full medevacs. Dude, Solar's just too good. Solar is too good. I may have been cheering for GUMIHO, but Solar has earned my respect because I've always wondered how one guy can defend so well, so consistently, while playing best of 5s and best of 7s against Clem, against Maru, against GUMIHO, against Beyond every single week. And yet he does it time after time, and he doesn't seem to lower, like he doesn't mess up repeatedly. He doesn't have big lapses in his level of play. He is always solid. He's always a monster. And he is overwhelming right now. Blinding Clouds on the high ground. Ling Bane, Hydra coming forward. GUMIHO's trying to hang on, but these Vipers have been absolute playmakers, man. And those Hydras need to get out. Careful. Ooh, the Marines get some good revenge there for GUMIHO. But the Hydras do mostly escape, and that is the important part. Still, only ahead 2,000 resources the unit's lost. And look at that. One little Hydralisk with a middle finger sticking up saying, F you, F you. You can't land here. You're wearing the wrong pants. Command Center does, of course, with the help of a scan in that siege tank, get down. But this siege tank has been replaced. None of these tanks are surviving long. And remember what I said about tanks just being kind of spread out for map control? Easy pickings for Solar. He cannot be affording to have these tanks sitting out like this. GUMIHO really needs to consolidate his tanks, I think, into more. And he definitely cannot take that bottom base. That's a crazy person move. GUMIHO is trying to control the map with spread out tanks and big balls of Marines. It's a dangerous move. I imagine he makes this work sometimes, but right now I feel like there's too many angles that Solar can take advantage of. Nidus in the back door. The left side is still wide open, and down here on the bottom, GUMIHO's trying to set up, but this is only what? One tank? One tank is not going to be enough there. Maru normally is Solar's kryptonite in these tournaments. Maru fell out in the first round of the GSL in a huge surprise upset. Oh, big attack. Marine Marauder trying to get out of there. That was a bad attack for Solar, probably the first one in this game. Falls behind another 2,000 resources and units lost and allows GUMIHO to kill this base. But uh-oh. Oh me, oh my. Oh god, lift that factory. Get it out of there, man. Get it out of there. You do not want to lose another factory. Oh, he's only got 2. He's only got 2. It's going to go down. He does lift it at the last second, but look at that. There's even a Nidus down there. Lurkers are going to pop out into the back door of that planetary. And right now, Solar's just like, mate, it feels like that Rohana line where she's talking about how Terrans are dirty because they communicate through orifices. You know, the racist grandma of the Protoss campaign, for anyone who doesn't remember Rohana. I feel like right now Solar is taking joy in just that feature of Terran. He's basically probing whichever orifice he wants to. Top base, bottom base, Nidus in the back door, Nidus in the back door again. Massive Ling Bane army rolls over the top. He chooses any entrance he wants, and any hole's a goal for this Zerg army. Siege tank there does beat him back for now. But I don't know how much longer you can beat back Solar. He wants that championship. He wants that trophy. His bank might not be that big, but he's got dominance on the map right now. His creep is starting to encroach on the Terran territory. And watch out for the fungal parasitic bomb! Oh my god! Massive hits. Kills every single medevac. The army gets wiped off the map. The SCV's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The Drilly Boys get blasted by those volatile bursts on the face. The Hydra's pulling back down here in the south as well. Marines and Marauders are going to try to chase, but that was a very good fight, killing the key base. The Lurkers end up popping out defensively, and he is just got to deny one more base, and GUMIHO's out of money. GUMIHO has his bottom base. It's his lifeline right now. His tanks are out in the open. That tank, he's going to save it. But he doesn't have much bio. And the Lings, whenever they find these tanks in the middle, which they do right now, they kill all of the reserve of siege tanks. GUMIHO's position is broken. Solar is so hot right now. Someone get this a piano key necktie. This man needs it because he's got to look stylish up there holding that trophy, which he is mere moments away from doing. One decisive fight and he's back in it. Yes, there's 3 command centers building. Yes, maybe GUMIHO could stabilize, but he's not really shown an ability to trade effectively against the Vipers, and those Vipers keep recycling. They're alive again and again. By the way, that Viper has 2 kills. It's pretty rare you see Vipers with kills. Just goes to show the parasitic bombs have been paying off. Ling Hydra coming in right now. It's an overwhelming engage. Abducting the Liberators to pull them out of siege mode. Abducting a siege tank into a more dangerous position. Baneling's rolling over the top. Fantastic engagement micro by Solar, clearing all the important units. He'll remax, of course, on the Lings, on the Hydras. He's got the Niduses screeching their way out. And that is very, very nicely done. Solar looking so good, man. What a great player. And he's worked so hard for so many years. And I always talk about how in 1v1 competition, there's often moments where someone really should be a many-time champion if it weren't for that one guy. And for Solar, it's his teammate and friend Maru, who he kind of just begrudgingly has to lose pretty much every tournament to. Finally, he doesn't have to face Maru in a tournament, and he is destroying. He is all over it. It's not in the bag yet. GUMIHO's not dead. GUMIHO's setting up in a nice little choke point there, but uh-oh, he's coming around the south. Not a great angle for Solar. If he splits and comes from both sides at once, I don't mind it, especially using the speedy zone. The little edges of the speedy zone can be really effective. Solar splits his army. This half's going to go north. The other half is still down on that bottom base. Takes out a tank, pulls back. If he rotates into the natural, I don't think GUMIHO has the maneuverability to deal with that. See, GUMIHO's trying to like push forward here to kind of scare him into fighting, but he's too smart for that. The Lingbane Hydra's going to go after those siege tanks. They'll get absolutely blasted. There's still only one lurker left actually on this map. Baneling's going after those ghosts. Those units starting to take big damage. Man, this is huge. A desperate counterattack for GUMIHO on the bottom is going to find Mass Lingbane Hydra and the Vipers waiting for him. He tries to go forward for the EMPs. The Lingbane Hydra kills the two ghosts to protect those Vipers. The barracks are getting taken down, and Solar has just been too much. He started off the series well. He shut down every single Reaper opening that GUMIHO threw out. And I really love GUMIHO's opening on Hecate. But the other openings, I feel like Solar was just so well prepared for. He slapped them down, and look at this. Time to finish in style. Baneling's in the mineral line. Nope. Does pull back for a moment. He's just being methodical. He's making Broodlords as well. Oh, Broodlords. This is what it's talk about, guys. When a Zerg's ahead, that's when they make Broodlords. and there's just no answer. There's 3 tanks, a few Marauders, a few Marines. Ling's trying to run in for a little bit of a surroundy surround, but preemptive there. Queen's dropping tumors on the front line. He's spreading it all across the map. The mass, an inexorable spread of creep spread, the goop going everywhere. And now the most savage of Zerg soldiers, they throw their children into battle, literally using the heads of their children for that Broodling strike damage, and then they do waddle forward. Broodlings have been nerfed recently from the Broodlord. You'll notice they move slower, they attack slower, but they still are a long-range siege unit, and when you're this far behind, you cannot deal with them. Lings, Banelings going after the Planetary, trying to remove those SCVs as well. The Bio trying to rotate, the Broodlords go after it. Nice Broodlord play, and there's just nothing you can do. A desperate counterattack in the north will find an army gathering to greet it. A siege tank and a Marine there trying to defend that base. GUMIHO not willing to give up. It is, of course, his final life. This game wins, and Solar wins the entire championship. He does actually get his Broodlords caught. Nice move there by GUMIHO. GUMIHO's doing a great job of making a battle of it, but the Blinding Cloud protects the Broodlords. They keep on shooting from afar, and you can see them just start to tickle these units down little by little. The Viper does run in front a little bit. The Lingbane Hydra going towards the main base. You either attack into those Broodlords, or you lose your production. He's going to have to try and defend these Broodlords sooner or later. The Marines run forward. The Broodlords are exposed. It looks like with the snipes and the Marines, he takes down all the Broodlords. A Pyrrhic victory for GUMIHO as he takes out his most hated enemy soldiers, but he ends up losing everything in the process. The White Whale, the Broodlord, finishes off GUMIHO. Fantastic play by Solar. This man did not do any cheesy builds. He did not bring out any cheese. He did not bring any surprise gambles. Solar played like a rock-solid player. Not a single all-in in the series. And he simply out-macroed GUMIHO, and he looked fantastic doing it. Congrats on Solar winning his first Global StarCraft League Championship. GG, well played.